Hello, so good to know you're there, tuned in to your favorite tech show on television with Don Pedro Agambi, where we look at issues, trends, developments in the global ICT industry. Today we have an incredible package for you. Wait for it.
From Nigeria receives the first prize in the AISI TV category for his program, ICT Africa. Congratulations, Don Pedro.
ICT Reporter of the Year, Electronic, Don Pedro Agambi.
Today, digitization is life. So every sector you see running, no matter how slow or how fast it is running because of digitization.
One thing I think that we can do and should do is move our education from a theoretical perspective to a skill-based perspective.
View. Smart glasses are not new, but most existing models have one serious drawback: their appearance. Their design is very odd-looking, usually because the camera is too conspicuous, or they're just simply ugly. View glasses, though, are an exception. They are designed in such a way that no one will suspect that they are smart glasses. The result is an elegant accessory that can make your life more comfortable and easier. View connects to your smartphone via Bluetooth. To answer the phone, change the music, take a picture, hear a notification, or receive information about your activity, just touch the frame. By the way, View glasses also have an important and interesting feature. They use bone conduction technology. This means that sound is transmitted to the inner ear through vibrations, directed at the bones of the skull, so only the wearer can hear the sound. Thanks to this, View doesn't disturb the people around you, and it doesn't obstruct your ears either, so that you can hear normally. The manufacturer has developed several models offered in prescription, plano, and sunglasses. The minimum price is $180.
You're all watching Africa's numero uno tech show on television with Don Pedro Agambi. We go on a quick break, and when we come back, you meet our tech personality of the week.
Could you please sign your autograph? Sorry, your signature.
My search is over, all I have ever wanted, I found in you. Everything that I need, I find it all here. Delivered with love to me, that's why I trust you totally. 'Cause happiness has set me free. I am happy, I found happiness. My heart beats to the beat of my conga. I've searched and found what makes me happy.
Conga.com, Nigeria's largest online mall.
Our tech personality of the week is Nigeria's tech Amazon, Engr Funke Opeke, Chief Executive Officer of Mainone. You will like this. Welcome to the program, Engr Funke Opeke. My first question to you would be that what lesson do you think that the Nigerian tech ecosystem must have learned from this pandemic era?
Thank you very much. The lesson, I think, from the pandemic era is really understanding the criticality of infrastructure development and our need to for timely execution of strategies and things that we know are required to move our society forward. The reality is we just put the broadband plan in place and set a framework of 5 years to do that as the pandemic was hitting. Now you look and 5 years seems too long, given the urgency that the whole world is faced with the pandemic in terms of getting some of these results we need. Also, the economic shocks brought about as a result of the pandemic make it more difficult and more expensive, less affordable for us to deploy infrastructure. So as I used to say, stitching time saves 9. And I think particularly in issues of infrastructure and economic development, it shows that we need to move faster as a country.
You are the chairman of the National Broadband Plan. Can you share with us the objective of, the entire National Broadband Plan?
One of the key or primary objectives of the plan was to achieve 90% coverage of the population with broadband services. That was defined as 25 megabits per second download in urban areas and 10 megabits per second in rural areas. And to ensure that at least 70% of eligible populations have access to broadband services. So as a fundamental, that really says all across the country you have access to broadband services. In addition, we set specific objectives for broadband coverage in schools. We expect all our tertiary institutions to have access to broadband, 50% of our secondary schools, 25% of primary schools, our health facilities, all of our local governments across the country to have access to broadband. Affordability, because we want low-income groups to also have access to this. Focus on digital literacy, digital identity. I think those are some of the key elements that tied the plan together in terms of outcomes that citizens would directly recognize. There are also some policy and infrastructure recommendations that support the achievement of these objectives, but these are the targets of what we really set out to achieve. What is the best case scenario that will ensure that people get this access? Well, best case scenarios is, of course, progress continues to be made and operators continue to deploy at their own commercial pace more broadband, more 4G across the country. The question is, how do you incentivize them to move faster? How do you do that with shared infrastructure so that the costs are lower? How do you ensure affordability of things like smartphones for less privileged in our society, women, students, so they can also access these services? I think those are some of the things that we need to work on. I mean, the government is also doing things like critical infrastructure and helping operators protect their infrastructure so they don't have to replace, and vandalization is much lower. Clearly, having more power from the grid will help in terms of lowering the cost of doing business, ease of doing business. So I think those are all the things that together make it possible. Engineer Funke Opeke, what is that one thing, if addressed, would have created the best impact or the greatest impact in improving broadband access and ubiquity across the country? I think 4G deployment. There's a lot of noise in the media about 5G, but the realization is 4G coverage in Nigeria is still somewhere around 45% of our population. So we need to get 4G coverage to more people across the country. And if we can do that and do that cost effectively, then we'll make a big difference. The president launched the plan in March, right after we had the lockdown for the pandemic, literally a week after that. However, the minister has enabled, empowered broadband implementation committee led by the NCC. They're looking at these things. They have started work on looking at the infrastructure companies to deploy fiber. They have started work on spectrum and spectrum availability to support the deployment of these services. The president has signed an executive order on critical infrastructure protection. As you can see, the states are reducing right of way to support the federal government with this initiative. We continue to see fierce competition in data, and price per unit of data is coming down, although you could still argue that at the low ends of our economy, data may still be expensive, and the consumption rates are quite high anyway, so overall affordability is still an issue. But I believe for 6 months into the plan, the energy that has gone towards implementation, even during the pandemic, has been impressive. I think the minister and his team are really trying to make it happen.
In those days before the liberalization of the Nigerian telecom sector, can you still remember some of those stories, especially when NITE was the monopoly?
I went to graduate school in the United States, and literally could take a week of my mother going to NITEL every day and waiting for a few hours for us to be able to have a conversation. So things were particularly difficult in terms of our ability to communicate in real time. So when we look at where Nigeria is today, we have indeed made a lot of progress, and we can see the impact that having access to real-time telecommunications is having in our lives and our economy. The next frontier is broadband. It's digital, because with that we can do a lot more education, payments, we say financial inclusion, digital literacy, healthcare. The rich content that you can get through broadband is truly empowering and will enable us diversify away from oil, as we have aspired to do as a nation. So reflecting over those good old days, I say, if we could make the progress that we did in the past 20 years, and a lot of the progress was made in the first 10, where liberalization took place and mobile telephony essentially became available services across the country, then clearly we have what it takes. And I know Nigerians have what it takes. We have the capacity, we have the energy, we have the can-do spirit, and this is a significant market where it will drive productivity and value if we get broadband to our people. So clearly we have what it takes to transform our country with broadband.
In what ways do you think that broadband penetration in Nigeria would help to improve the life of the Nigerian youth?
Absolutely. Nigeria, we have a very young population. We have a very dynamic population. In fact, I think too much of our energy goes to unproductive things because we don't have enough of these productive opportunities. So my firm belief is that if Nigerian youth are given access to these opportunities, and we see examples already, people who acquire skills on YouTube and go on to build very successful businesses, and we start seeing these role models generating real value, having an impact, making real money based on leveraging technology, that indeed it will catch on. And the information is right there, would be at their fingertips, via their phones or their devices, to self-learn and acquire the skills and put some of these technologies to work. So I am a firm believer that access, affordable access, ubiquitous access is key. And with the quality of young people that we have in Nigeria, I mean, the sky really should be the limit if we give them the tools to empower themselves and transform our society.
Can you share with us the success story of or the impact of Mainone to the development of the Nigerian nation?
We have worked to deepen internet access, not just in Nigeria, but across West Africa. In Nigeria, today, you have internet penetration rates greater than 50% of the population, which I think is incredible over the past 10 years. In addition, prices have crashed considerably because when we came in at the first instance, we crashed wholesale prices overnight for data access by over 50%. Today, those prices are probably less than 2% of what they were before we landed our submarine cable, and there's been phenomenal growth. In addition, we're bringing content to our continent with deploying data centers. And so today, greater than 50% of internet traffic accessed by Nigerians is being made available to them from local data centers, of which we are one of the key providers. So I think a lot has been done. I am honored to have had the opportunity to chair the development of our second national broadband plan. I think it has been adjudged to be a good forward-looking plan that should deliver a lot of value to all Nigerians, should it be fully implemented, which I hope it will be, and I'm seeing early signs, positive signs that it will be. So I think those are some of the contributions. You know, Nigerians are brilliant, but the cross-section that we had to work with, both public and private sector, the quality of the contributions, the quality of the debate, the depth of understanding of the issues, the willingness to move the country forward, I truly was humbled by the experience. It was an honor for me to lead such an esteemed group of individuals, and every last person on the committee made positive contributions. I hope that we will kind of remain lifelong friends, but certainly colleagues in advancing the cause of development in Nigeria. But I was very, very impressed to see the caliber of Nigerians and the contributions.
What's your response to calls for smart cities?
You know, smart city requires infrastructure. We need more coordinated planning to achieve smart cities because you need to integrate different services. And some of it is public, some of it is private sector, but you need to integrate the services and then have the intelligence behind it. That's what's going to be the smart city with all the sensors all over the cities. I think with the project, for example, that Lagos State has just embarked upon, I think that's the first step, for example, of putting the ducts in place. You need the fiber and the electronics, but you're starting to kind of see the framework for the infrastructure that would enable smart cities happen. Affordability is a big issue for a lot of our states across the country to be able to deploy similar infrastructure. But I think I certainly optimistic that Lagos will indeed get there and will be a role model when the smart city is deployed for other parts of the country, and we'll be able to leverage the experience here and the economics of doing it here to spread it around other parts of the country.
What would you want to be remembered for in the tech ecosystem?
Well, I think our mission and my goal is transforming the broadband ecosystem in Nigeria and in the totality of what that means, be it access, be it enabling education and schools acquisition, be it enabling startups and new business models that are using broadband, influencing policy to facilitate that. I think really helping to drive the growth of that ecosystem appears to be my life's work, and there's still considerable amount of work to do.
All right, Engineer Funke Opeke, on behalf of the entire production crew of TechTV, we want to thank you for finding time to talk to us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you indeed.
Oh, could you please sign your autograph? Sorry, your signature.
My search is over, all I have ever wanted, I found in you. Everything that I need, I find it all here. Delivered with love to me, that's why I trust you totally. 'Cause happiness has set me free. I am happy, I found happiness. My heart beats to the beat of my conga. I've searched and found what makes me happy.
Conga.com, Nigeria's largest online mall.
Wow, that was our tech personality of the week, Engr Funke Opeke, Nigeria's Tech Amazon. We do hope you found some of those information quite useful. For comments and observation, reach us on the numbers and emails now showing on your screen. You can also see this on our YouTube channel. I'm Don Pedro Agambi, and on behalf of the production crew, thanks for watching. Same time, same station. I'll be back next time. I'll see you.